Welcome to the Synergy Lab. You guys, it's a little bit cloudy out, and I just felt like putting my hair in a pony and putting on a sweatshirt and making a frittata. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I've got spinach, sun-dried tomato. Okay, those are gonna be my main flavors. If I had feta, I would put it in. I forgot I had some and it kind of went bad, so no frittata or no feta for my frittata. But if you have it, I would definitely throw some feta on top. And like when I go to the store tomorrow, because I'm gonna make extra, I'll make sure I pick up some feta to put on top of this. So what I'm doing is I'm just dicing up an onion. I've got my pan warmed up, and I guess I'm throwing an onion in there too, and I didn't mention that, but it's not a must if you don't have onion. I just happen to have, I bought them by the bag and had some extra. So I'm gonna throw in some diced onion. And the key to any good frittata is making sure that you cook down your vegetables first, okay? Cook down your vegetables first. So if you don't, you know what's gonna happen, right? You're gonna have a soggy frittata. Nobody wants a soggy frittata. Okay, so I've got my pan warming up. I'm throwing in my onion. I already threw my spinach in. Truth be told, I wish I would have waited for that part, but I found the onion after I had the spinach. So ideally you would cook your onion down first, but I'm also not too worried about the onion because I'm gonna sweat it out and the spinach, it'll be just fine. So I'm putting in a whole onion. Onion, and the key ingredient here, you guys, is the sun-dried tomato. It really adds a ton of pop. That and the feta, which I don't have, but I will get. See, we don't let these things slow us down and keep us from doing things, guys, right? We just adapt. That's what life's about. I'm not gonna let a little lack of feta stop me from getting better. I'll be here all night. Okay, so the onions, we're gonna cook those down. And now I have a oven-proof skillet here, okay? But I gotta tell you, I have a pan that is a lot less sticky that I'm gonna use for the oven, because we do want to bake this, right? We're gonna cook down the veggies and then we're gonna throw it in the oven. And we're gonna put it in the oven at 375. So I'm gonna turn the oven on and get that ready, right? And then I'm just cooking up my onions and my spinach. I'm gonna cook down, make sure these onions are all broken up. And if you're not a big chopper, you can buy these veggies already cut for you, right? You could use frozen spinach, but if you use it, frozen spinach, you wanna thaw it out first and squeeze all the water out of it, okay? I just don't buy that because it doesn't look appetizing to me, and I'm one of those people that when I'm cooking, if it doesn't look good while I'm cooking it, I'll cook it, but then I won't eat it. I'm weird. That way with fish too. Ugh, don't get me started with fish. I want to like fish. Sometimes people say, oh, you're a personal trainer, don't you just automatically? No, not all personal trainers automatically like fish. Not a seafood person. I want to be, I'm just not. I chalk that one up to growing up, we didn't eat it, and we had a cat, and all of her cat food was like fish based, and so to me, fish smells like cat food. Like even when I walk through the grocery store, if I smell fish, I'm like, ugh, why are you guys eating cat food? I know it doesn't make any sense. I've tried to get myself to like it. And don't get me wrong, if someone's serving salmon or something like that, I can eat it. But I always think about that it smells like cat food. So that's my little secret with that. Okay, so here's the deal. I got the onions going. They're gonna need to sweat a little more, or else our frittata will be soggy. We don't want that. So I'm going to let it go here a little bit more, but we are gonna start seasoning. So whenever you're cooking vegetables, stovetop, you want to be low to medium heat, and you always wanna season your vegetables. You wanna layer your seasonings. So you could use salt and pepper Okay, so don't feel like, oh, you have to go out and buy special things. I'm using a Greek seasoning that I made from home. And I can give you, I don't know, I just Googled it, how to make Greek seasoning, and I happen to have all the ingredients. So you could do that. You could do just salt and pepper, like if you don't want your eggs to taste like Greek food. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit of the seasoning now, okay? But like I said, salt and pepper would work just fine. Just fine. So you do want to layer your seasonings. And if you want the recipe that I copied off the internet, DM me or ask for it in the comments, and I'll get it out to you. Okay, so while these onions are cooking down, we're gonna get our pan ready, and we're also going to defrost our sausage. So you don't have to put meat in this if you don't like to. I really like this turkey sausage from Jimmy Dean. I like the patties. So that's what I'm going to use. And just grab my pan. So I like this dish for 2 reasons. It's a Rachel Ray. Huh? I didn't know that. It's microwave oven and dishwasher safe. It says on the bottom. If you ever don't know, check, because sometimes it says on the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to spray this, and I'm going to bake my frittata in this. You can bake it in a pan that's oven proof. I bought these because I wanted oven proof pans, but guess what? It's stickier. This pan, it washes out like a drain. It's so much easier to clean, so I am going to bother to transfer it over. So now we go to the sausages, and it's frozen, so we're gonna need to get that. Come in. So we're gonna need to just defrost them. They're already pre-cooked, so you don't have to worry about that part. You could use a crumble sausage, like a 16-ounce tube of sausage, breakfast sausage if you like. I gotta tell you, I tried that last week. I didn't like it. I wanted to like it. I even did videos for it so I could post it, but then I didn't like it, so I didn't bother posting it. Okay, so I'm gonna do 6 of these. Okay. And then I'm just gonna microwave them, and I have my cutting board. No need to dirty another tray because my cutting board is microwave safe. And I'm just gonna put them in there for a minute and then chop them. Now for the eggs. So one of the ways that we save calories, but don't skimp on flavor, is we're gonna use some egg whites and some egg yolks. Now, we all know a fat-free diet is not where it's at, right? So I want those yolks. They have lutein in them, choline. There's some good stuff in those egg yolks, so I do want them. However, I would like to have a little bit of room. No, stay with me here. When I go to have my egg frittata, I want to have toast with butter on it, and I'll show you the toast that I like. You can use whatever you like. If you're gluten-free, you can use gluten-free toast. You can skip the toast and go for fruit. High fives to you. I just want the toast. It's comfort food to me. Here's the deal. I want to put butter on my toast. So if I put a lot of butter on my toast and I make this whole thing with egg yolks, that's not bad, but my calories are going to add up really fast, and I'm a volume eater. So I would rather use some egg whites and save some of that fat for the butter on my toast, thinking about how I'm going to spend my calories. But you could use all egg whites if that's what or egg yolks if that's what you prefer. It's up to you. Your diet, you might need a higher fat diet. If you're doing keto, use whole egg yolks. Use the whole egg. Yeah. And I'm not saying keto is good or bad, but I'm not doing keto, so there. All right, so we're gonna do 6 whole eggs. And I'm gonna pause to mix up my veggies because I can tell they're getting upset. There we go. I'm actually gonna turn them down because they're getting dried out, which is what we want. We want to kind of sweat them out. And I just was about to say, Grandma Gordon would be mad at me that I'm not doing this into another container, because guess what? I got it. I got a shell in there. Hold on. All right. Yes, Grandma Gordon. I will do the rest of them in there you go. Okay. I'm going to grab a little cup to catch my eggs in now. I have 2 more eggs to go. And I'm going to first break them off into a separate container because it's a lot easier to get the shell out if you mess up and get the shell in there. Darn it. Okay. Perfect. 1 second, wash my hands. Okay, next up, we are going to put in some more seasoning. Remember I said we're layering our seasonings, and I'm going to put in a little more Greek seasoning, about a teaspoon. You know, you can always add salt and pepper afterwards too, right? But it's best to season your food while you're cooking it because the flavors melt in better. Okay, and then I'm just doing 16 ounces of egg whites. This is a very high protein meal. If you're getting bored, stay with me. I've got a surprise for you coming up. A little shopper. Kind of cool. And so I'm putting all of this into, sorry you couldn't see that, putting all of that into a NutriBullet, a blender. This is not a step you have to take. You could go by hand, but if you do it in the blender, it makes your eggs more like frothy and beautiful. Okay. And I apologize for this extremely loud noise. You might want to mute for a moment because the NutriBullet is going down. It's right behind you. Actually, you're in the way. Sorry. Just a quick zhuzh, and you've got fluffy eggs. Beautiful. Okay. So now we're going to pull out our veggies. And you can use any veggies you want. Like you could do broccoli, you could do, last week I made a frittata with basically all of the vegetables that were in my veggie tray for Thanksgiving. And that worked out really, really well. I loved it. Okay. Sausages. So I'm just going to chop those into nice small pieces. I'm going to stack them up. If they're stacked, you can cut them easier. Stack them in 3s. I like cooking and I love chopping things. If you think you don't like chopping, I would suggest that you make sure you have good chopping utensils. I buy knives that you can sharpen. I love the Rada knives, R-A-D-A. You can buy a sharpener with them. They run in a very reasonable price range. And to me, it's all about having a sharp knife. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and spread my veggies. Like I said, typically I would have more veggies than even this onion and spinach. And I am going to put some sun-dried tomato in here, which has already been dried. It just has some oil in it. So now we're gonna go with the turkey. We're gonna drop that in there. And I sprayed my container. I should check and make sure I actually sprayed it. You wanna spray your pan so you can get the stuff out, right? Okay. So I love this because it's got so much protein in it and it makes it so easy to hit your goals as far as protein goes. Because we are doing not only, I'm gonna drain this real quick. So these are what sun-dried tomatoes usually come in, say like, look in the pickle section of your restaurant or of your grocery store. Look in the pickle section, and they usually come packed in an oil. And so I'm just gonna go over to the kitchen sink and drain all of this because I'm gonna use the rest of it. So sun-dried tomatoes have so much flavor in them Think of it like a raisin, except a tomato. And if you don't like tomatoes, you don't have to use them, right? You could skip that part easily. All right. And I'm just going to, so you don't always do this with like a sun-dried tomato, but for this, you want to get the moisture off, right? Because what? We don't want a saggy frittata. So I'm just going to dry them out a little bit. These add so much flavor, big time zing. But you don't have to do spinach or some spinach and sun-dried tomato and feta. You could do, that's a Greek, right? I'm kind of going Greek. You could do, like I said, any veggie you like broccoli and cauliflower, and you know, I really do like the spinach. I use that because like my spinach is, it was spinach and arugula, and it was getting ready to go bad. So instead of throwing it out, I often will either make a soup, a salad, or make like a frittata like this, and then I'll just throw all my veggies that I didn't, you know, whatever I didn't get eaten, I'll throw them in. Oh, so good. But this just adds so much zip, you guys. Okay, so here we go. Sun-dried tomatoes, and they're gonna get sprinkled in here. So I've got onions, spinach, sun-dried tomato, I've got turkey sausage. I might have a little too much sun-dried tomato. I might back off a little bit. But that could go on top of your salad. I'm not a big regular tomato fan. Like I would never eat raw tomatoes, but these, dude, if you think you don't like tomatoes, I would definitely try these. Okay, so I went ahead and stopped. So it looks like this so far. Okay, and that's on the bottom, the veggies, the sausage, the sun-dried tomato. Okay, here's the part that here's where it gets weird, and we're almost done, so stay with me. Cottage cheese. What? Cottage cheese? Yes, cottage cheese. Now, here's another thing. I don't know where you are locally, but you can find lactose-free cottage cheese. This is lactose-free. This is the store brand H-E-B here in Texas, but they make this kind of cottage, they make different kinds of cottage cheese that are lactose-free. Oh, and I actually bought 2 containers because I love this stuff. And I don't get to that grocery store a lot. I'm gonna get the one I have already opened. I love cottage cheese for like, if you're hungry, but you know dinner's coming, you know, you can get a few bites and you're gonna get a lot of protein out of just like a half a cup. Half a cup has 13 grams of protein. And it's not hard to eat a half a cup of cottage cheese, in my opinion. Okay, so now I'm just gonna spread these. So about a cup and a half, and this is a 3-cup container. So I'm just gonna go down to a half. That's how I'm not a big measurer. I have a cookbook out. Creating that cookbook was so challenging because I don't measure. I'm not a big measurer, but I had to for the cookbook. So I'm more of a cook, not a baker, certainly not a chef. But I know what tastes good. All right. Okay, excuse me, I'm back cough. Okay, so now the last but not least, so this is what it looks like. Doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just spreading out the cottage cheese. Cottage cheese and scrambled eggs, it'll change your life. It makes everything creamy. And like I said, you can get it lactose free. So if you're not a lactose person, you're all right. You're gonna be okay. You know, I just thought I could probably have seasoned my cottage cheese with that Greek seasoning too. But to be honest with you, I've never made a frittata with that seasoning. So I'm glad I went light because I gave it some flavor while I were cooking. But if I don't like it, it's not like it's overly done, right? And I can always add more. Okay, my loves, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna show you, this is what it looks like. And I will get back on later when I pull it out of the oven. It's gonna go in for about 45 minutes. I usually start checking in at 30 minutes. I usually always set a timer early. But it almost always takes 45 minutes. It's nice to get checking on it. Okay, loves. Cannot wait to grub with you. I'll be back on later with the results.